Hello from Toronto, Canada. I am Giancarlo Brado and will be one of the speakers at the upcoming Nsuka Vocational Skill and Talent Competition for 2021. There is so much skill and talent right here in Nsuka, and what an opportunity this is to be able to encourage and reward all of you talented youth and to make sure we bring these undiscovered talents to the limelight, to get recognized, and of course with the opportunity to showcase these incredible talents with the world. There'll be many special guests as well as guest artists and also some incredible speakers that will motivate, inspire, and share insights with all of you. I'm delighted to be one of those speakers, and I look forward to bringing you some of the insights that I have gathered from across the globe. Of course, none of this is possible without some incredible partners to make all of this happen, one of which is Rasen Global Services. They're education technology specialists right here in Nigeria. I personally look forward to all of your participation. It certainly is time to showcase these talents with the world. So please make sure you register and get involved in this incredible opportunity. Hi, what a pleasure it is to be here with all of you today. I wish I could be there in person, but I am here in my hometown of Toronto, Canada. And this is where I was born and raised, and also became a high school math teacher at one of Ontario's first fully digital schools. Since then, I went on to support other schools and school systems around the globe to help them transition to digital. And I've been working a lot with governments and school systems and schools all over the world. And I'm going to share some insights that I've accumulated along the way with all of you today in this incredible day and journey that all of you are on with each other, supporting, and elevating the incredible skills that all of you have and that you're continuing to develop. I'm going to start with a story. And this is a story of an African girl. She's 5 years old, and a North American boy. He's also 5 years old. Now, this girl, every day when she walks home, this is the street that she looks at. And if we look at the boy from North America, this is the street that he looks at. Now, in the mornings when the girl wakes up and goes to say hi to her parents, this is the room that she looks at. And similarly, when the boy from North America wakes up, this is the room that he looks at. Now, I'm going to ask you a really important question. I want you to think about which one of these kids do you think has the opportunity to realize their aspirations? And I want you to think individually, which one of these kids has the opportunity to realize their aspirations? Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask someone to hit pause on this video because I want you to turn to the person beside you and I want you to tell them what your thoughts are and why that is. I'm only going to give you 2 minutes though. So you have 2 minutes. Someone pause the video and tell the person beside you the answer to that question. Go ahead. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to share, but also hear someone's perspective. Now, my belief is that they both have the same opportunities to realize their aspirations. And why is that? Because poverty is not destiny. And if there's anything that we're learning in the world is that what happens to you is not a reflection of your environment or the people that you're around, but it's on how you choose to react and respond to that environment. In fact, what it has to do with is your mind and your heart. And how you choose to react and respond and to use your heart and your mind becomes the factor that determines your outcome. And hopefully throughout this talk, I'll share with you some insights as to how we know this is true. Now, there's an organization, it's called the World Economic Forum. Now, what they do is they support and they take data and insight from countries all around the world. And one such insight that they gather from thousands and thousands of companies all around the world is what skills are needed. And one interesting fact that they've uncovered is that within the next 5 years, all companies are going to need to reskill their employees. In fact, 50% of all the workers on the globe will need to reskill themselves. Now think about that, right? Those two kids, regardless of what they study or what they're studying today, they're going to have to relearn 5 years from now, right? Imagine when they're adults. And this pattern is expected to continue given the way the world continues to change and to evolve. Now you might wonder, well, what are these skills that are new skills or that are skills that people will need to develop? Well, they studied that as well. And in fact, there's 10 top skills that they realize are going to be super important by the year 2025. And they continue to do this type of analysis. What I'd like you to do with the person beside you is I want you to try to guess what are some of these top 10 skills that you think are going to be super important for people of all ages to be able to thrive within the work economy. So go ahead, pause the video. You have 2 minutes. Talk with the person beside you and try to think about what skills you think are going to be the top most important skills in the next 5 years. Okay, hopefully that gave you some time to think about these skills. Now, here's where I actually am so super curious to hear what your responses are. So what I'm going to invite someone to do is to lead and guide you sharing some of those thoughts with me. So I want someone to videotape as this happening because I want to hear what some of these skills are. So go ahead, someone facilitate and have people shout out what these top skills are. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do so. And then please do send me the video because I'm super curious to hear what skills you think are going to be super important by 2025. Go ahead. All right. Thanks so much for capturing your responses for me. So I will share with you the top 10 skills. Now, more importantly is the categories in which these top 10 skills fall under. So the first category is that of problem solving. So we see things, and you can see the blue dots, you can follow it here, analytical thinking, complex problem solving, being innovative. These are all skills that involve thinking beyond the traditional, but also making sense of things and pulling new ideas together that might not have been thought of before. So that's the first one, problem solving. The second one is all around self-management. Now, self-management is interesting because it involves learning. The fact that 50% of the world has to reskill means we have to know how to learn and how to be actively involved in our learning. But also, this concept of self-management also has to do with resilience, right? And stress tolerance and flexibility. And what does it mean to be flexible? What does it mean to be resilient and to be adaptable? This third concept has to do with working with others. Super important is the ability to be able to negotiate, to be able to be empathic with others. So this skill of being a leader, or where is it here? Social influence. And what does it mean to have social influence? These are all new skills that need to be developed within our workforce. And the last one, I'm going to pull it out here, has to do with technology use. And of course, as industry evolves and more new types of technologies come in, our ability to be able to utilize those technologies for the work we do becomes super important. And that's an important skill that they realize as well. So those are 4 categories of skills, and hopefully you might have guessed some of them. And so we can think about these skills that are super important for 2025, and that's not too far from now. Now, countries all over the world have realized this. In fact, this report has been coming out for a while, and countries have been attuned to how the changing nature of work has evolved. And countries have realized, well, the things that we've been doing in school, memorizing facts and, multiplication tables and writing essays, although that's important, literacy, numeracy, basic skills are important, so too are developing these skills. And countries around the world are asking themselves, how do we create opportunities to teach these skills in these youth? And that's why, I go back to those 2 kids. They both have an equal opportunity because these skills don't necessarily need to be taught in the school. They can be taught with regular experiences. I want to give you an example of how this is already happening in real life. This is several years ago. In fact, you can see 2016. I had the opportunity to go to China with the 15th largest employer in the world. It's called Foxconn. They make over 40% of the world's consumer electronics. And on this particular day, they convened all of their top senior executives. 55,000 people from across the world gathered. And what was interesting, at one part of the day, they had one of the leaders of the group that makes all of Apple's accessories and products, and she got up there and she started talking about how, the advent of camera technologies and sensors in their factories where they make their iPads is changing the nature of their workforce and even their engineers and others that are working, because their skills have to adapt to how they might utilize these new technologies to be more efficient and more productive. In fact, it's changed the workforce so much, what she put up on the slide on the stage was a list of new skills and criteria that they give to all the universities where they traditionally hire their employees from. And what they are asking them for is to develop those skills. And let me tell you, what was on that list did not have to do with technology. It had to do with a lot of these other skills, soft skills or social emotional skills that were so important that they realized they needed within their industry. So that's an example of what I experienced myself. And so you can see that, like I said before, it's not necessarily school where you develop these skills. It's the experiences and any experiences. But we have to be attuned. We have to open our hearts. We have to open our minds to develop these capabilities through the different interactions that we have every single day, even as young as the age of 5 or as old as 18 or 19 or 25-year-olds, however you might be right now. And the beauty is, what the evidence shows us is, you're never too young or never too old to learn and to adapt these new skills. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but how does this work? And people who have done this effectively, what does that look like? Well, there happens to be Dr. Ruth Gautian, who's been studying people who have developed these skills to a high level of degree. In fact, she studies all of the world's top performers, top athletes, astronauts, famous politicians, famous successful Nobel Prize winners. And she started noticing a pattern between all these highly successful individuals who have had these great accomplishments. They all shared similar characteristics in common. And I'm going to share these 4 common traits that they have, which are traits where any one of us have access to, because they live in our hearts and they live in our minds. So what are these traits? Well, the first one is this concept of passion and purpose. And this is well beyond, my purpose is to make a lot of money, right? It's about, why am I doing what am I doing? Is it because I want to provide a better life for my kids than I had? Is it because I want to provide a better community and I want to serve my community better? Is it because I want to solve the problem of, I want to create incredible, exquisite food that people can savor and enjoy, but not have to, sacrifice a huge paycheck to be able to have? Whatever it is that drives you, you have to find it. It's got to be in your heart, and that's got to be your motivator and your driver. And all of the folks who have achieved anything great in this world had that passion and that purpose as their driver. The second element that they had was this concept of being solution seekers. There's nothing that will come easy in this world. There will always be challenges. But what these folks have a unique gift to do is not look at those challenges as the end, but as the beginning. And they seek to find solutions. And so when faced with a challenge, it's not about saying, oh, I can't do this. It's saying, I can't do this yet. And adding that last word, yet, means it gives you hope, right? It's holding on to possibility that it exists. And so all of these skills are about convincing yourself that, this challenge is not the end. How might I figure out how to solve this particular challenge? So it's overcoming adversity. Now, this next one is all about practicing skills, and even though you might overcome adversity, it's about developing. And, if you understand a bit about how the brain works, it's like a sponge. It continues to evolve. But the more that we practice something that we don't know of, the stronger that bond exists and the better we become at it. If you think about an Olympic athlete, we just went through the Olympics. The same drills that an Olympic athlete was doing, a week before the Olympics, they started doing it when they were young. Let's take a runner, for example. Right? That drill that they learned in high school about running those drills, they were doing the exact same drills 2 weeks before the Olympics. It's about practicing the same skills to continuously improve on whatever those skills might be that we want to get better at. And the last one has to do with the concept of always filling our mind with new knowledge and with new learnings. And this can happen by watching others, talking with others, engaging with those in the area with which we want to develop. Being around the people that we want to aspire to develop the skills. And slowly we start learning, we ask questions, and it's constantly, that never ends. They're constantly asking questions. So these are the 4 skills that Dr. Goshen has noticed in all those who have been successful in achieving their aspirations. Now, I want to make this super concrete for you so that you experience it. So I want you to all do this with me. I want you to take your hands and I want you to cross them. So go ahead, everybody cross your hands. Go ahead. Cross your hands. I want to make sure everybody's crossing their hands. Okay, now I want you to take a look at your hands. Now, some of you have your right arm crossed over your left, and some of you have your left arms crossed over your right. Now, do me a favor. Everyone who has their right hand crossed over their left, put your hands up. And someone please go take a picture, okay? So keep your hands up. Keep your hands up, all of those who have the right over their lefts. Hopefully the picture's taken, you can send it to me. Okay, they say people who cross their right arm over their left, you guys are all more intelligent. There you go. Okay, who crossed their left over their right? Everybody who crossed their left over their right, put your hands up. Someone take a picture, please, okay? Cross your left over your right. Okay, they say you're better looking. I don't know, that's what they say. Okay, so why did I ask you to do that? Do me a favor. If you crossed right over left, I want you to do it the other way around. And if you did left over right, then I want you to do it right over left. So go ahead, do it the opposite way. Okay, what did you notice? And if I were in the room with you right now, and you probably noticed the people beside you, when I asked you to do it the first time, you just did it. You looked at me and just like, yeah, okay, I'll cross my arms. But the second time I asked you to do it, many of you had to look down. Many of you looked around to look at others. There was a lot more noise, I'm guessing, in the room as well. Why? Because anytime we try something new, it's awkward and uncomfortable. It's different. We have to use more thinking processes. Right? But what happens if we keep practicing that? Right? Now, I want to unpack some things that are happening here. Now, first of all, this concept of crossing arms. Right now, this crossing arms, the opposite way, it was awkward. It was uncomfortable, right? But you did it. Imagine when it's not as simple as crossing arms, right? If it's too awkward and uncomfortable, what's going to make you want to do it? This is where passion and purpose come in, right? It makes you push beyond the awkward and uncomfortable. Now, this concept that we talked about problem solving, you all did it naturally, right? Our brains are wired to do this. When we did it the natural way, we didn't have to think about it. We just did it. But then what happens when it was awkward? Well, we had to look, we had to think, we had to process. Maybe we looked at the person beside us, right? And what we did is we figured out a way to overcome our challenges. Our body's naturally wired to do this. We just have to push ourselves to want to do it, right? And then what? Well, imagine if we kept practicing doing it this awkward and uncomfortable. Imagine if I took the next 7 minutes, 10 minutes to do this with you. What would happen? Well, I waste 7 minutes that I don't have, but eventually it would get more comfortable. It wouldn't be so awkward and uncomfortable. But here's something interesting. If the only time you practice with these next 7 minutes, if I ran into you again a month from now or a year from now, and I asked you to cross your hands, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go back to doing what you're used to, because our mind is wired to do what's easy, not what's awkward and uncomfortable. And so this is where practice and repetition comes in. If there's a new skill or something you're trying to develop, it's not about doing it once, it's about doing it often and repeated over a long period of time. And that's where you start developing this skill, so that if you get asked to cross your arms, you can do them both ways without thinking. But that only happens after repeated practice over a long period of time. And now this last concept is learning. You naturally did it. You looked to the side, you started talking, you were all talking more. Leverage that. Your natural inclination is to go and find other people, have conversations, explore, push your mind, try different new things. Never stop learning, right? And I hope you remember that this simple activity of crossing arms, you all do it naturally. And I want you to apply it to whatever skill or new ability that you're trying to learn in whatever field that you might be in or that you might migrate yourself into. Okay, I want to end with a concrete example of this. It's one of my favorite stories. It's by Christine, and it was on this show. It's in North America. I'm not sure if you see it there, but it's all about this chef who's ruthless, but he's trying to find incredible chefs from around the world to cook in his kitchens. And I'm going to show you a clip of this girl Christine's journey on his show. Enjoy.
Chef Gordon Ramsay is getting served karma.
Are you really blind?
Yes, chef, I am.
Gee, you cause a stir out there, literally.
Yeah, I didn't mean it, actually.
Some hot water for celebrity chef facing some payback.
Everyone thought, how is this girl going to cook blind?
You're going to be judged like everybody else in this competition.
Yes, chef.
Richard, come here! Come here! Stop! That's what we're serving. Get a grip and wake up!
What kind of a gives a live crab to the blind chick?
Let's give it to her.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
I'm freaking out for her.
It pierced me.
She's like very easily flustered.
What the hell is going on?
Honestly, chef, there's just no excuse. I just was flustered.
A dream, she says, that turned into a real kitchen nightmare.
No one ever really thought that it could be this big.
We did not grant her any advantages.
Are you stupid?
I hate his face.
I want to prove you did try to screw me. I'm sorry, can you tell me where I had put the green onion?
Green onion.
Still in the bowl?
And maybe he really wants her out.
Get out!
I really loved cooking, but I thought it was going to be something I would have to give up.
I really have mad respect for that lady.
I don't like her.
She's weak.
I think Christine will win this.
As you know, there can only be one winner. And that winner, Christine.
When I cook, I feel like my mom's spirit is somewhere nearby. If my mom were still here today, I would ask her to teach me how to make her Vietnamese beef noodle soup. Although each time I make it, it gets better and better, it has yet to still capture the memory of my mom. I think all of these things are a tribute to her and an homage to how my mom viewed food. Whether it's trying to get through challenges to win a cooking competition, to just trying to replicate my mom's beef noodle soup, you just have to try over and over until you succeed. Losing my vision taught me to be more fearless in life. If you can't see how steep the mountain is, then you can't fear it. Everyone is very capable, much more capable than they think they are. Regardless of where you've come from, what challenges you faced, what sort of a hand you're dealt with in life. You shouldn't be afraid to dream big. Your chances of attaining something, if you don't try, is 0%, so you might as well try.
What I love about her story is that it exemplifies her passion and her purpose for why she does what she does. You know, in this relentless pursuit to always try to problem solve amongst her adversity that she has, and always constantly developing her skill and learning, and she's never done learning. She's a great example for all of us. And you know, I hope today she's been an example, and this experience of Crossing Arms has shown you that you have the capability, just like those 5-year-old kids, to do whatever it is that you put your mind and your heart to. And it doesn't matter where you've been or where you are or where you will be. What matters is what you do with your mind and with your heart, and everyone has the same opportunity to achieve the outcomes that they desire if we do the things that we need to do, develop the skills that we need to develop to achieve the things that we want to have for ourselves, for our communities, for our families, and beyond. It's been a pleasure being with you here today, and I love experiences like the one today. Please do take advantage of it, and of course, continue to come back, as it's these experiences that connect you with others, connect you with insight, and most importantly, help you learn and grow and develop the skills you need to become the best version of yourself. My name is Giancarlo. It's been a pleasure being with you here today. Take care.